Recap in minutes. In today's video, we will be enjoying a war drama film, entitled Battle of the Bulge. There will be spoilers ahead, chill out and enjoy. The movie begins with an American lieutenant named Kappa sprints past a formation of Nazi soldiers. He had not even planned on being unarmed in a Nazi prison camp. The Germans are so taken aback by the suddenness of the situation that they are unable to move quickly. Several people begin firing at the American soldier, but by that time, he has gotten to a safe distance. Germans have no choice but to go after him now. The American service member narrowly avoids certain death and makes his way to safety. Corporal Pesce meets up with the rest of his squad and interrogates one of the guys to make sure he didn't give up the position. Pesce warns his men to brace themselves because the enemy could be approaching. Pesce warns them against opening fire before he gives the order. Right on the dot, a German riding on a horse appears to scout their area. They restrict their range and modify their behavior accordingly. The German soldier has seen nothing out of the ordinary and is preparing to leave. Even without orders, one soldier is prepared to fire at the Nazis. He tries to fire the gun twice by squeezing the trigger, but nothing happens. The moment the German is out of sight, Pesce confronts the soldier. If he had been terminated, their whereabouts would have been exposed. As they travel to a new area, they meet more allies who provide them with sustenance and transportation. Corporal Pesce senses something is off about the meeting but pretends otherwise. The truth is that he is correct, and these soldiers do intend harm. Meanwhile, other groups of American soldiers are experiencing all sorts of issues. One of their vehicles is unusable as the battery is dead, and their phone is unable to get a hold of their base. Jason reports that they need to find higher ground to give it another try. Captain Daniels orders them to salvage what they can and destroy everything else if they can't move out in 10 minutes. The Germans are headed in their direction, and they cannot take their chances. While they are attempting to fix their vehicle, another group of soldiers arrives. This gives them a sigh of relief, but their excitement is temporary. Out of nowhere, the soldiers who are supposed to help them are ordered by Lieutenant Shepard to execute them. All the American soldiers are then killed. Captain Daniels can only watch in horror as his men are brutally terminated. Shepard and his men then take the vehicle with them. Major McCulley is concerned that he is not getting all the necessary updates on what's going on the ground. All planes being grounded due to bad weather conditions is not helping. He is also told that his officers on the ground have not reported yet. The Germans are on the offensive, and the men on the ground need all the help that they can get. McCulley is also desperate to know the location of the German battle tanks. General Omar Bradley joins Major McCulley. Bradley demands an honest assessment of the encounters in the field. McCulley lets him know that it's the Nazis' last offensive against the Allies, and they are utilizing all the weapons they have, infantry, tanks, and artillery, among others. While his men are overwhelmed, they are not giving up but rather performing a tactical withdrawal to minimize the casualty. Bradley is worried that if the Germans are not stopped, they will end up trapping the American soldiers, making it impossible for the Allies to come and rescue them. McCulley tells Bradley that if the Germans keep advancing, their tanks will eventually need to refuel. That is where they come in. A group of Nazi soldiers wanting a piece of him is still chasing Lieutenant Kappa. As he nears their camp, he carefully avoids the landmines that are planted for scenarios like this. He manages to reach their camp despite being wounded while American soldiers engage against the Germans. He then passes out and wakes up at a field hospital. He is told that the bullet barely grazed his side. A military nurse who is also a captain asks him to stay to give time for this wound to heal up, but the officer wants to get back in action already. She suggests giving it a couple of days, but he is relentless. He cannot just stay there while his men need his leadership. He then later finds out that this place has no active officers, as the latest one was killed in combat. The soldiers here are mostly composed of black men. A soldier tells him that their location is in the middle, but they have set up checkpoints all over. Landmines are also in place as an added protection. The soldier then shows Lieutenant Kappa one of the most valuable resources they are protecting. They are in possession of the largest fuel supply. The officer is surprised that they have not gotten rid of the fuel. The last thing that they want to happen is for the Germans to make use of the fuel. Being the only officer in the area, Kappa is now feeling the pressure to take command. He informs the soldiers that they are low on ammunition and have no capability for tank defense. The soldiers display a willingness to give their all, but the officer has other plans in mind. He does not want to lose more men while he is in command. He orders them to abandon their post. Major McCulley finally gets an update on what the status on the field is as one of their pilots manages to make his way to the area. The major is informed that their men are at a disadvantage, and it's just a matter of time before the Germans annihilate the troops. As the pilot continues to survey the area, Captain Daniels is able to get a hold of him and inform the pilot that the Germans are just nearby. The pilot eventually determines the exact location of the Germans. He then reports to Major McCully, informing the officer that the Germans are coming in hot. Major McCully then orders the pilot to abandon the area. Major McCully informs General Bradley that the thousands attack the Germans and their tanks. His plan is to create a bottleneck to force the Germans to pass through rough terrain where American soldiers are waiting. General Bradley will take the plan to his superior. Meanwhile, he lets Major McCully know about a disturbing update from the ground that there are English-speaking Germans pretending to be Americans. Corporal Pesce and his men are reunited with Lieutenant Kappa. Lieutenant Shepard, who pretends to be on their side, takes control of the command and reminds Kappa that he has a higher rank and that he is now in charge. Kappa refuses to be intimidated, reminding the young lieutenant that they have wounded soldiers to attend to as well. The two officers clash again after the lieutenant refuses to allow the American soldiers to use the jeep that belongs to them to move the wounded. When Captain Kappa stands his ground, the lieutenant gives in. Captain Kappa and his men are now aware that something is up. The lieutenant and his men have been acting suspiciously. It is just a matter of time before the inevitable happens. As Captain Kappa and his men leave, it has then revealed that Lieutenant Shepard and his men are Germans pretending to be Americans. The military nurse prepares her team for what lies ahead. She orders that they gather all the supplies that they need, like bandages, morphine, food, and water, among others. The doctor informs the military nurse that their hospital needs more blood for their wounded patients. She informs the doctor that they have run out of supply. He refuses to give up and proceeds to volunteer to donate his own blood. Captain Daniels comes across Lieutenant Kappa and his subordinates. As he rests, he notices that the jeep that his men were trying to fix before they were executed is with them. Captain Daniels lets them know what happened and how he got away. They now know what they are up against. Corporal Pesce suggests that they go back and confront Lieutenant Shepard and his team. While planning their next course of action, they are being told that some Germans are headed their way. Once it is verified that the Germans do not know that the Americans are in the area, Lieutenant Kappa decides to stay and face the enemies. All American soldiers are ordered to get ready. They will wait until the last minute before attacking. That way, they will have the upper hand. Some soldiers then position themselves in their battle tanks. They need to conceal themselves and make it appear that the tank is abandoned. Moments later, the Germans pass by without knowing what lies ahead. Some German soldiers get curious and try to observe if the tank is manned, but the soldiers inside are able to camouflage effectively. Captain Daniels joins the team that will be heading back to town. Their plan is to blow the depot. Daniels is certain that the Germans will not recognize him, as he was able to hide when his men are being killed. As the Germans are closing in, Lieutenant Kappa and another soldier pretend to be Germans guiding their comrades. Once the Nazis are within range, Kappa then orders his men to fire. A heavy gun battle then transpires. In the village of Lanzarote, where the field hospital is located and where the German soldiers are, a gunfight also transpires. The soldiers are obviously outnumbered, but they refuse to quit. The device needed to blow up the supplies malfunctions. Private Adam Wayne, who is already wounded, volunteers to stay behind to operate it manually. His comrades do not want him to make the sacrifice, but he insists. He then asks them to leave. Lieutenant Shepard and his men are now trapped. They seem to be in a tight spot as the Americans are able to properly position. Moments later, the gunshots stop. He then orders his men to secure the fuel. What they don't know is that one American soldier is waiting for them to blow up the fuel. As Lieutenant Shepard and his subordinates proceed to the area where the petrol is piled up, the American soldier makes the ultimate sacrifice. The huge explosion also serves as a signal for the American troops to fall back. The movie ends with back at the base. General Omar Bradley shares with Major McCully how the Germans are able to infiltrate their defense. They are also able to cut some wires and turn road signs. In the process, some American soldiers fail to reach their destination. Half of their artillery also did not make it. Major McCully decides to send all the reinforcements to Bastonia. That is where they will make a stand. The officer then sends orders to all units to fight against the Germans and not back down. They are expected to stop the Germans from advancing their position or, at the very least, slow them down. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this and help the channel grow.